Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Stampin' Storytellers. Today is a bit of a double header. We're going to make these two cards. So we're going to make this piece first and then die cut and then use our die cut on another card. So the bundle that I'm featuring today is the Quiet Meadow stamp set and the coordinating dies. These are really amazing dies. There's one label and the rest are all plants and greenery, and there's two butterflies. I'll show you in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. It's on page 110. So there's the stamp set there, and then this is the star of the show of these dies. So you can use these dies with or without the stamp set. You can piece them together to make the flowers a different color than the stems. They're really beautiful, and so I wanted to showcase those today. While we're looking at catalogs, I've also actually paired it with this mint macaron pattern of paper that's in the Whimsy and Wonder 12x12 DSP. It's a specialty DSP, so this is actually the back side. The front side of each design has, or the front side of the 6 sheets has foiling, like silvery metallic foiling, and then the back side doesn't have any of that, but also very generic patterns that I'm really in love with it. Also happening right now is Sale-a-bration. It started August 3rd. It goes until the end of September. The items in this catalog are while supplies last, so there are dies in here. These are probably the ones that are going to sell out first, especially these sheep ones. And then the other items that I know are a hot ticket right now are the Penguin Playmates DSP, because it coordinates with the Penguin bundle in the mini catalog, as well as this Bedazzling 6x6 paper. This paper is actually, it's kind of, here's a scrap of it, champagne-y gold color. It's not white. I'll show you comparison. This was our white glimmer paper that used to be in the catalog. So this is definitely gold compared to our white, but you can spritz it with re-inkers and rubbing alcohol mixed in a spritzer, and you can make it whatever color you want. So that is being a highly chosen item that you'll want to make sure if you need some that you get it now. The way to get product from this catalog is you spend $60 from either catalog or the clearance rack. For every $60 you get to choose a free item, with the exception of this stamp set. You can choose if your order is 120, and there's also a host code if you collect a couple orders from your friends and join them together. The last thing I wanted to remind you about is if you join Stampin' Up! To be a demonstrator, or basically you're joining so that you can get a discount on all your Stampin' Up! Product orders, you get to choose a free bundle from this list. These are all bundles that are in the mini catalog right now. So if there's one on your list that you really like, you could sign up to be a demonstrator. You don't have to do videos. You don't have to hold classes. You can just be your own best customer. That's how we all start. And then you get a free bundle as well in your starter kit. So the starter kit is $135, but you get to choose $165 of product. That free bundle, you get a free past paper pumpkin kit, no shipping, no tax. You can pick whatever you want. It's not a set kit. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. I'd be happy to have you join my team. So to get started, I have a card base that's mint macaron, a layer of basic white for the inside, a layer of So Saffron that's 5 1/4 by 4. This is a scalloped contour die. We're going to do some masking on that. Here's that Whimsy DSP, the mint macaron side, and then a strip of Highland Heather. So to start with this, I have my mask that I'm going to lay straight on there, and I'm just going to use a couple Post-its to hold it in place because I don't want it to move. I'll start with my So Saffron, and then I have Highland Heather and mint macaron. So I'll start with my blending brush for my yellows. Start off on the edge and then go this way. And I'm going to do about 1/3 of it, just like that. Then I'll move to my purple blending brush and do the center. And my mint brush for the bottom layer. Oops, I almost put that in purple. That wouldn't be good. So there we go there. I'm just going to bring in my yellow brush again to get rid of, I went a little heavy on my Highland Heather. If I rub that back and forth. There we go. So now I can lift that up. And this is what we made. Now I'm going to die cut this die here, right out of the center. And I just want it to line up in between those stitch lines. I don't want it to go past the scallop. So I'll run that through my die cutting machine. So you can see there it's die cut through. Pop that out and I'm going to leave it in there. We're going to save that for our next project. So on this layer, I'm going to add in some mini dimensionals. And I'm just going to add them right on these little pieces that are from the center and then around the sides here so that my DSP is layered up nicely and that it is held up. Now I'm going to use my take your pick tool and I just poke the back of the dimensional and then pull down or push up gently and it picks up all those backings for you. I've seen other demonstrators do this and I was like, oh, I don't need to do that. And then I tried it and I was like, wow, that's a really good use for that tool. So now I have all my backings off. I'm going to take this piece of DSP and stick it right over there. And now I have that nice background just like that. Now I'll bring in my scrap piece of paper again. Get rid of those dirty Post-its. I'm going to flip it over so I don't get any extra ink on it. So this layer of So Saffron is 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to use the image that has all the words on it. It's kind of a background image. And with Versamark ink, I'm going to stamp just a couple in the background. And Versamark is normally, you think of it to use with embossing, but you can also use it, it's a watermark ink. So it kind of brings out, it's clear ink, and it kind of brings out the color of the cardstock. So you can kind of see it on there. And as it dries, it just dries clear. So you could also stamp that in So Saffron on the So Saffron cardstock, but it's much more subtle, and you'll see once it dries. Now I'm going to grab my yellow blending brush again and just use it on the edges of this layer. You can also use a sponge dauber, and we'll use that on the next card. But because I already had my blending brush out, it works for that as well. Okay, so I have that layer. Let's fold up my card base. A standard size 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And adhere that onto my card base. Add this just in the center. Just like that. Then on my thin strip of Highland Heather, it's about a 1/2 inch, I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says "You're too kind" in Highland Heather ink. And trim that off just on a slight angle. And layer that on just at the edge of the stitch line. So you can see it's inside the edge of that stitching line. Then we have 2 options for ribbon. On my example one, I used this Pool Party sheer ribbon, but I also have, and this isn't Mint Macaron either, this is actually Soft Succulent, and we'll try this one on this card. This is, I think, just because of the shade, it really matches both Soft Succulent, sorry. Soft Succulent and Mint Macaron. It looks good with both. Oops. Trim that. On an angle, and we'll add that on with a glue dot. And put that right like that. So there's card number 1. Yes, I also had a layer of basic white for the inside, and I was just going to stamp. This just has a little bit of ink left on it, and it's lots to be able to do. I don't know if the camera will pick that up or not. There's a little bit. You can see just a little slight watermark. That's all I'm going to do on the inside. So there is card number 1. And here's my sample one. This one's a little bit more subtle. I was heavy on my blending right here, but I like the brightness of it. Card number 2 is more of a 1-layer card. I'm going to start with a basic white layer that's 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to bring in another one of our masks, this leaf mask, and on a bit of an angle, and my Mint Macaron blending brush. I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. And I'm not going to do the whole piece, and I'm not going to do it evenly either, so that it's just subtle, just in the middle. Then I have this splotch image, and I need to clean that first with my Simply Chamois. It's a little purple chamois, and I keep mine in an extra stamp case, and I've labeled it. I printed this off online, and then you have it ready to go. You don't need any cleaner, you just need water. So I'm gonna use this spatter image a couple times, just like that. Then I'm going to bring in the large floral image and gray granite ink this up, stamp that down right like that. Then I have my sponge dauber somewhere. So same thing that we did on the last card, except with a sponge dauber this time, because I didn't have my blending brush out for gray granite. And just do the edges. This will just make this white layer pop off the card base more. Just adds one more layer of dimension as well. There we go. Then I'll also bring in my Versamark one more time and just do this a couple times across the top. Just to add more interest. And it's an easy step. You don't have to do too much of it. Now I'll grab my die cut here, pop this out of the die. So here it is here. So you can barely tell that that was actually done with this mask. It doesn't look like that, but it just adds some extra color to a piece that you wouldn't normally have, right, if you hadn't done the blending with the blending brushes and the mask first. So I'm going to add that onto my card front here, just with a little bit of Tombow on a few of the leaves. And we'll let that dry. Then I've actually pre-stamped in So Saffron the sentiment from this set, Thinking of You, and die cut it with a die from this set as well. Then I've die cut the open butterfly out of So Saffron and the second butterfly die out of Highland Heather. And I'm just going to do my Versamark on these again. Just that subtle touch. The recipient of your card will think that you've spent so much time on this one card doing all these details, but it didn't take you that long at all. So I'll add my basic white layer to my card front. And now that I've layered that on, you can see the inked edge of that layer. Now I'll add my sentiment up on dimensionals. This one you could use normal size dimensionals, but because I have the little ones out already, add that right there. Then I'll curl up the edge of my butterfly wings. And add that one on, and then curl up this one as well. Add that one with a dimensional to right there. So then on the colored cardstock, you can see those letters. There we go. And our last touch on this one is some pearls. So I'm going to put 3 down the center of this one. These are the smallest pearls on our sheet. And then just 1 on this guy. Then for the inside, you could add some more blending and just do a little bit in this corner. So it's just subtle. And another watermark image. Versamark ink stays wet on the stamp for quite a while, so you just need that little bit of ink on there. I don't know if the camera doesn't pick it up as well as in person, but it is there. And add that layer to the inside. And now we've made 2 cards using our leftover piece from our first one on our second card. And here's my sample one. Those ones are pretty close. So I hope you liked my designs today. If you'd like to purchase any of the products I've used or any other products from Stampin' Up, you can shop my online store directly from my blog, stampinstorytellers.blogspot.com. If you enter my current host code, I'll also send you a free make and take packet in the mail for a project that I have either showcased on my blog or on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget about Sale-a-bration. It ends September 30th, and all of those items are while supplies last. So make sure if you see a free item that you want in your crafting stash that you order it right away so that you can have it and love it as much as everyone else is online. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you soon. Bye.